Genetically modified organisms. It's a scary word. Genetically modified organisms can be a number of things, from a cow that's been modified to produce more milk to a microorganism that has been modified to absorb and break down oil from the latest spill. But when we think of GMOs, we think of crops. Now, why is it important to talk about GMOs? Well, they're everywhere. Over 80% of the crops in the United States being grown right now are genetically modified. Now, they can be helpful. There's also dangers involved with the growing of genetically modified crops. The important thing is to be educated and to know what you're eating. The benefits of genetically modified crops are numerous. They have an increased yield. In 2010, 31 million more tons of corn was produced, and 14 million more tons of soy were produced than would have been without genetically modified crops. They also reduce the use of pesticide because crops can be grown to be resistant to certain insects and pesticides. Less pesticide needs to be used. In 2010, it's estimated that 965 million less pounds of pesticide were used than would have been without genetically modified crops. This helps protect both the environment and the workers from the dangerous pesticides. It's also helped reduce carbon dioxide emissions. It's estimated that using genetically modified crops is the equivalent to taking 8.6 million cars off of the road. It causes increased profit for farmers. Their profits in 2010 increased by 14 billion than it would have been without genetically modified crops. And over half of that money went to developing nations. We can also modify crops to carry extra nutrients that they wouldn't normally carry, like golden rice. Golden rice has been developed to carry beta-carotene, which is naturally found in the plant, but is not in the edible portion. When we unlock the genes to carry beta-carotene in the edible portion, those nutrients can now be given to developing nations across the world where they have a shortage of nutrients. Now, there are plenty of drawbacks to GMOs, the biggest being a lack of transparency. In the United States, it's not required for food containing GMOs to be labeled. Also, the main producer of GMOs is Monsanto, and Monsanto has been known for many years to be a bit shady in their business practices. There's also the danger of gene transfer, where genes can transfer from a modified crop to an unmodified weed through cross-pollination. And this could cause super weeds, weeds that are resistant to insects and herbicides, which would defeat the purpose of the original modification. It would mean we would be forced to use more pesticides and herbicides on our crops. There's also the issue of allergic reaction. When an allergen, like a peanut, has one of its genes taken and spliced into, say, corn, you have the danger of carrying those allergen properties with you. So someone who's allergic to peanuts then eats that corn and experiences the allergic reaction that they wouldn't have had. I hope that I've educated you a little bit about GMOs and that you can make informed decisions on your food in the future.